So anyway, let me tell you a little story about how a company. So this has to do with my alma mater, Honda Motor Company. And here's a picture of Soichiro Honda, who was the founder of Honda Motor Company. And he was quite an innovative person. Actually, the truth was, during World War II, he had a manufacturing plant for piston rings, where he became very wealthy. And then he decided he wanted to go into business, buying Army surplus bicycles and strapping engines to them, creating motorbikes in Japan. Well, he began to dream, and he thought that he should have a global vision. And that was for him to take these little motorcycles and to expand them into racing machines eventually, where they would win the much coveted motorcycle race called the Isle of Man, which was a treacherous motorcycle race, 37.4 miles in length and 4 laps around this very small country. They have speeds on these small roads of over 200 miles per hour nowadays. I would encourage you to paste this title into your browser and take a look at what it's like to be on a bike on this particular course at those speeds. Later, they decided to be bold and move these small scooters they were building to the United States. This is probably around 1959, where American Honda was established on Pico Boulevard with 11 trucks and 4 employees. And that's a little bit of a glimpse of what our logos and the trucks that were going to Harley Davidson dealers trying to sell motorcycles. But they came up with a good idea. They came up with a scooter and they changed the whole image of what motorcycling meant. And they had a campaign called "You Meet the Nicest People in a Honda." And they had the right price, the right product, the right place, and the right promotion. This is quite different to the image of the motorcyclist, and this can be seen in the movie called The Wild One with Marlon Brando, where these motorcycle gangs on these Harleys and Indians would go into towns, take them over, and loot them, abuse the people, so on and so forth. And if you take a look at this YouTube clip, you'll see. So the whole image of the Honda scooter is directly opposite from the image of motorcycles in the United States. And this is one of the cutest little videos that was used to advertise Honda products. Well, they had a neat product at the right price. Later, they had brand extension and came out at the perfect time when there was a fuel shortage in the United States, 1973 through 75. So again, timing was everything. Product, price, and product positioning. Later on, because of the reputation, Honda came out with a whole line of products, and this is called brand extension. I was in charge of the Acura division, the Honda division, and all of these during my career, except motorcycle, usually on the fixed operations side, which was service, parts, technical operations, and then corporate risk and a bunch of other administrative jobs, although I did spend 3 years in auto sales. Now here is a video that Honda of England came out with years ago that shows the growth of Honda in a very emotional way. And I would encourage you to take a good look at this video. Later on, Honda moved its headquarters to, which here is in Ayama, Ichomi, Japan, to American Honda first in Gardena, California, which was a garden community of Japanese people. And then the first auto plant was opened in 1982. First motorcycle plant was in 1978. All of these in Ohio. Another brilliant move that was designed to uh, avoid import taxation into the United States, but to build the products locally, taking advantage of tax breaks and other things in the state of Ohio. Eventually, we were global, where there's 25 million units sold worldwide, and you can see the breakdown of motorcycle, automobile, and power equipment. There's over 85 plants, or actually 85 countries involved. In Mexico, which has been the trend, you can see all of the auto companies have moved down to Mexico to take advantage of the low costs and lesser restrictions from OSHA. So, who invests where and why? Let's talk about this. So again, who invests where and why? Well, here's a breakdown of multinational corporations. Who are they? Well, a multinational corporation, sometimes referred to as a multinational enterprise, is a corporation that is registered in more than one country or that has operations in more than one country. It is a large corporation which both produces and sells goods or service in various countries. Now, often these corporations accumulate political power and influence. But if you look, you can see, I would imagine for all of you, some very popular names. These multinational corporations, where they have their own operations, where they have invested in other companies. Now, in order to be a multinational corporation, you need to be in 2 or more countries. And believe me, these companies are in many, many countries. Now we have another permutation of this, which is foreign direct investment. It's a direct investment into production or business in a country by a company in another country, either by buying a company in the target country or by expanding operations of an existing business in that country. In other words, they're investing in that country or in the businesses in that country. You know, for example, right now, if you look at an automobile company like Volvo or Fiat or so many others, if you want to look at who owns them, they're owned by many different corporations. So what are the pros of globalization? Again, consumer cost reduction, development of countries, aids democracy, cultural intermingling, and I've gone over these, right? These are all things that basically are pluses. Now, there are some risks associated with all of this. And they basically fall into 4 categories. Commercial risk. These are risks in international business. You can see them here. Weak partners, operational problems, so on and so forth. Then you have cultural differences, where the cultures of the different players stand in the way of progress. Or you have currency problems, where there's fluctuations, taxation, so on and so forth. I would make sure that you pay close attention to this slide. And then the country risk, for example, you might decide to engage in a country that's right suddenly in the middle of a civil war, or their financial system breaks down. But once again, this is a very, very important slide. And I would make sure that you keep this in the back of your head as you start to formulate ideas for your research paper, which is part of the course. And then, of course, there's, again, these international dependencies in the logistics sphere. So, for example, how long does it take to move the product through the network? And again, economic downturns could facilitate this. The product risk, well, it could be anything, not enough parts to make them. or as I said, the country itself could be in a state of turmoil. Think about this one. This is the Evergreen. This was going recently through the Suez Canal, and it kind of jackknifed in there and got stuck. 12% of the world trade flows through the Suez Canal. So unless the warehouses or manufacturing plant had what they called safety stock, there is no way they could resume their distribution or their manufacturing. Total disaster. And then on the automobile side, the absence of computer chips from Thailand has devastated the American new car market. $110 billion loss to the automobile industry because of these, for whatever the reasons. So these dependencies create risk. So therefore, you have to hedge your bets. For example, wouldn't it have been better if just-in-time delivery, there was a 30-day or 60-day on-hand supply of these chips? Well, this contradicts the concept of leanness, but it would also ensure a safety stock that would enable business to go on. These kind of problems can affect people that own stock, people that are affected by the business, or the populations that are out of work. So anyway, that's it for module number 2. It wasn't a long one, but I would encourage you to go back and take a real good look at some of the major concepts there, especially the risk page. And also what we see recently in terms of the Suez Canal issue and the automobile industry that's been hampered by chips. I mean, the good side was the used car market was up, but thank God there were used cars out there. But in reality, the new car market suffered terribly. Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this module. And again, I've launched 2 modules, modules 1 and 2. When you get about halfway through module number 2, I'll be launching modules 3 and 4. All right, so enjoy your studies. I hope you're enjoying the course so far. Keep your calendar, stay on top of your work, and always be looking for some emails or announcements from me. Thanks a lot. Great to have you in the course. I hope you're enjoying it.